Praise to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Hashem Rakadash. This is Passover 2025, right? And this is going to be an important video. I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm just going to go off the spirit with this one. So I'm going to quote scriptures, but I'm just going to go off the spirit, So this Passover is about Yahweh Shai, you know what I mean? So we keep the Passover because it's about Yahweh Shai. That's what it is in the New Testament. So some videos, sometimes you would hear me speak about Yahweh Shai changing the law about the New Testament having clear errors, right? But just because I say that Yahweh Shai changed the law, that's according to the New Testament. It's a difference from what happened in real life and what the New Testament is saying. And that's what I believe. Just like, for example, Matthew's was written in Greek, right? But now, which I don't have all the research myself, but there's research saying there's actually a Matthew's in Hebrew that has a lot of differences from the Matthew's in Greek. You see what I'm saying? So when you have something like that, and if you do your research and you come to believe that, you're persuaded in your own mind on something like that, then you start to realize, okay, just because this is saying something don't mean that's what happened in real life. Then you start to question a lot of things. Now, question is good because you have to question things to get knowledge. Knowledge is good. And I had that fight with myself too. And that's what this video is going to be about, my journey, my journey in the truth, which with understanding and following Yahweh Shai. So I had that, and I had to ask myself, ask yourself this. If you a Hebrew Israelite, you in the truth, and you sit down, ask yourself this. Does the truth matter? What is true or not? Not what a person told you, not what a doctrine. Is it better to follow the doctrine or is it better to seek the truth? Even if the truth goes against what you're being told and taught. So for myself, I was never in this Hebrew Israelite movement. I never joined it. I never came into this for fame. I had that type of stuff outside the truth already. I never came into it for money like you see with a lot of these different camps and these different scandals. I was able to attain that stuff outside the truth. So when I came into the truth, I wasn't coming into the truth for that because I already had that stuff outside the truth, which was a blessing. I don't need to set up a Hebrew Israelite boxing match. If I want to do that, I'm just going to set that up outside the truth. I'm not going to attach it to the truth. You see what I'm saying? But it was a blessing. Even bigger than that, I never wanted to attach all my outside stuff. Like I like to race cars and stuff like that. I keep all that stuff separate from the truth. I don't bring that stuff in the truth. Anything outside of the truth on my, my downtime or just my free time where I keep all that stuff separate because that's how serious I take this truth. Now I had to ask myself a question. I had to ask myself, is it important to know the truth, what's true or not, right? A lot of brothers will say, no, I just want to learn the doctrine of IUIC. I want to learn the doctrine of GMS, and that's what I'm going to go with, and I'm not going to question anything because I don't want to know the actual truth. That's not me. I'm searching for the actual truth. Then I had to ask myself about this talk. It's a lot of talk going on, and I think this is the problem. I think the internet is the problem too. There's a lot of guys just being content creators, building up YouTube channels. There's a lot of guys in this for different reasons. But it's just, and this is why the Passover means so much to me. Passover may mean something different to you, but for me, it means so much because it puts me in remembrance of the Israelites in Egypt leaving out of captivity. Same position we're in right now in America. But they left out because they put actions behind those words. It wasn't just words. See, all the Israelite community today is doing is just talking. There's a lot of talk, a lot of scandals, a lot of fraud going on. But the Israelites that were our ancestors that were in slavery in Egypt, they were about action. Moses, see, he wasn't just going out and just teaching the people and just talking to the people. He was actually going to Pharaoh saying, let my people go. He was actually trying to get his people out. He was about action. What Moses was teaching the people was, we are going to have to come together and lead. But before that, we're going to have this Passover, where they put the blood on the doorpost like you see on your screen, right? Where they ate the lamb, where they were eating the lamb in haste, ready to what? To do action, which was leave. That's the reason why they had to eat the lamb in haste. That's the reason why they had to have their shoes on. They had to be prepared to leave. That's an action. See, these guys come in this, which they're psyops. They come in this truth and they set up camps, and those are psyops. Those are camps set up by agents, or the leadership has been infiltrated by agents, and their job is to stop you from doing any action. Their job is to get you to continue talking and doing nothing. They don't want you to do what, if Moses came back today and he did the exact same thing he did in the book of Exodus, they would be calling Moses a bug out. They would say that he's trying to have a flea American doctrine and that he's going off and that he's in sin today. That's what they would say about Moses if he came back and did the exact same thing today. You see what I'm saying? So I believe we got to put action, just like going into Hosea 2, which actually I'm going to read that because I like Hosea 2. That was a good scripture, right? We're going to actually go into the wilderness. And that's going to be an action. That's something that we're going to have to do when we're ready. Now, the Lord plays a part in it overall because, of course, the Lord is controlling everything behind the scenes, but it's going to look like something that we're going to come together and do. Now, you could say that's going to happen when all hell break loose. You may be right. But the Lord is going to assist us on that journey the same way he did after the Passover in Egypt when we went into the wilderness. Right? So this is Hosea chapter 2. And I want to get straight to the point, right? Verse 9, therefore will I return and take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and will recover the wool and the flax given to cover her nakedness. And now will I discover her lawlessness in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of my hand. I will also cause her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbath, and all her solemn feasts. So this is the thing, right? You say we can't do anything. We can't do action. We just have to sit here and prophesy because the curses were on us. But the curses was around because sin was around. The curses have been around since sin was around. That goes back to Deuteronomy 28, the beginning of it, That's what it's talking about. If you sin, then you're going to be cursed as a nation. If you sin and you do these sins and you become wicked as a nation. If you're righteous, then you're going to be blessed. So the curse has been around since sin been around. King David had a kingdom. So should King David had used the curses as an excuse? Well, I'm King David. I cannot have a kingdom. It started with King Saul. We cannot have a king. We cannot set up a king because we're cursed. Now you could say, well, they were in the land. Well, the reason why they say we're not in the land because we got kicked out the land because we're cursed. But even if you use that, right? Because we say King David had a kingdom, King Saul had the kingdom, the curses was around during their time. Then you go to the various kings all the way down to Zedekiah, all the way down to the time of Isaiah, and then you say, well, we went to the Babylonian captivity, right? But even still, guess what? We went back to the land to build the temple. That was after the Babylonian captivity. This is the time during, what was that? The Persians. Yeah. So you had the different Persian leaders and kings, and we went back to the land to rebuild. Right. And in and out the land, different sects of us when you go into the Maccabees. And then eventually when you get down to Yahushua, they were in the land, man. So I don't think we really can use that as the curses for an excuse because the curse has been there, right? I think it's something that we need to do, and that's why we're reading Hosea 2. Let's get into it. Let's keep going. Verse 12. And I will destroy her vines and her fig trees, whereof she has said, these are my rewards that my lover had given me, and I will make them a forest, and the beasts of the field should they eat, and I will visit upon her the days of Balaam, where she is burnt incense to them, and she decked herself with her earrings and her jewels, and she went after her lovers and forgot me, said the Lord. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably into her. So how is the Lord going to allure? And it says her is talking about Israel. How is the Lord going to allure his wife? right? Israel as a whole into the wilderness. Well, he may do it by a man like Moses, a leader. He might do it by a movement that comes. He might do it by shit, all hell breaking loose, and we have to retreat into the wilderness. Like Judas Maccabees, they had to retreat into the wilderness after keeping a Sabbath day because of the persecution. Verse 15. And I will give her vineyard from this. This is Bible prophecy. Write this down. In the valley of Acre for a door of hope. And she shall sing there as in the day of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. See, so it's saying the same thing. That look, and at the top of my Bible it says Israel restoration. So this is Bible prophecy of when Israel get restored to the land. It's saying that look, it's gonna happen the same way that it happened when she came up out of Egypt. See, this is why I'm bringing it up, and this is why it makes sense to bring it up, because it relates to the Passover, because the same thing happened in Egypt. How do so-called blacks and browns, which are the children of Israel, get free from America? The same exact way we got free from Egypt. But we got to put action behind it, not just talk, right? Let's keep going. Verse 16. And it shall be at the day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shall call me no more Baali. For I will take away the name of Baal out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant. So this has to be future prophecy. This is talking about that new covenant that's going to be made for them with the beasts of the field. Well, you got many different covenants. Let me correct myself. You got a covenant with the beasts of the fields, because that's Bible prophecy too, that, the beasts of the fields pretty much is not going to hunt us, attack us, or, be a predator to us anymore. It says, and with the creeping things of the ground, and I will break the bow of the sword of the battle out of the earth, and I will make them to lie down safely. And this also goes into Joel, the book of Joel. This goes into the valley of Jehoshaphat, when the Lord is going to destroy our enemies and these other nations. It goes into Revelations 19, Revelations chapter 12, when the Lord is going to destroy our enemies, right? And we're going to dwell in the land safely. It says, and I will betroth thee unto me forever. So that's future prophecy, because this is something that's going to last forever once it happens. Yeah, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness, in judgment, and in loving and kindness and mercy. But what did it start with? It started with the Lord alluring us into the wilderness. Now that could be, now it doesn't have to be a flee Babylon doctrine. There's wilderness within America that the Lord is going to allure us into. You see what I'm saying? Now I believe that, let's just say, well, the leadership, if the leadership wasn't infiltrated by agents of just the leaders of the Israel, just the One West thing, I believe if IUIC, GMS, Sakari, ISUPK, HODC, Wi-Fi, the list goes on and on and on, right? If their leadership was to come together as one, which originated as one with the One West School, right? And was saying, hey, we need to go into saying the exact same thing Moses said, because they make it seem like it's a problem. But that's why I'm reading Hosea 2. If we went the exact same way that Moses went, said the exact same thing Moses, when we came together and we assembled together and we told the leader of America, let our people go. And I believe that it would happen the same way it happened in Egypt, that the Lord would plague the fuck out of Mystery Babylon out of America until they let us go. And once we came together, and we could do this today, and once we came together and went out into the wilderness, the Lord would destroy this place and he would protect us. And we could do it today. It lies on us. It's our fault. The Lord is waiting on us. That's why there's no day, there's no time that no man know, because it's based on us whenever we do it. Right? Let's go to Revelations. What's that? Revelations 20, Revelations 18. Let's go to Revelations 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. You see? Come out her and go where? come out of her and go into the wilderness. This goes with Hosea 2. The Lord will allure us. This is the voice of the Lord alluring us. Where? Into the wilderness, right? That ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues. Because when the Lord allure us into the wilderness, going back to Hosea 2, where it says, he's gonna the battle axe out of the earth, right? The Lord is gonna plague this place. The Lord already been alluring us. The sign already there. The voice is already there telling us, hey, look, man, the cities is prisons. Hey, look, man, Esau got y'all in slavery. Come up out of this place. Don't worry about, that's Matthew chapter 6. Don't worry about what you're going to eat. Matter of fact, let's go to that. But let me make a quick note, because this is cold. Because you got guys that are on the Old Testament. Me, I'm Old Testament and New Testament. I believe there's errors and there's changes in the Old Testament and New Testament. But at the end of the day, what's the difference? If Jeremiah said, thus saith the Lord, you still have to believe in Jeremiah, because you weren't there to verify that the Lord said that to Jeremiah. So you still have to believe in that man Jeremiah, that he's telling the truth and he says the Lord said something. So what's the difference from Matthew saying the Lord said something, or John the Revelator saying the Lord said something? You still got to believe in the man, right? But this is crazy that I just stumbled across this, because this gives validity to the New Testament. Because look, right here in Revelation 18:9, it's saying, look, I heard a voice from heaven. Then they would say, well, it's just a voice from heaven. Well, if you matches that up, well, who voices that? Well, hey, there's only one real God, and there's only one voice that could come from heaven during a time, which it would have to come from the true God. There was no other voice. Like right today, right now, Esau could get a helicopter and he could go in a cloud and he could make a voice come from heaven from the helicopter just in the cloud. During this time, there was none of that. So the only voice that was coming from heaven during this time would had to be the Lord, right? Because that's the only person that would have the power to do that during this time. But the context of that goes with Hosea 2, which is Old Testament, which is saying, look, the Lord say he will allure in Hosea 2. Revelation 18 said a voice will come from heaven. So who was the voice in Revelation 18? It goes back to Hosea 2. The Lord that's the voice that's alluring us to go into the wilderness or come out. Right now, let's go back to Matthew chapter 6. That's how you break down the Bible. Right? Now, there's errors. Clearly, there's things added, whole paragraphs and stuff like that added. But that don't mean that the things that are going off and going against Moses' law, which I get that battle, doesn't mean that's actually what the real man Yahushua said. That's just what they're saying he said. You see what I'm saying? So it's a difference. We're going to get the full truth when he come back. Right? Matthew 6. Verse 25 says, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than the meat, and the body more than the remnant? Behold, the fowls of the air, they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they are? So it's saying, don't worry about what you should eat, because that's what guys are gonna say. Man, you're gonna lead these people into the wilderness. Y'all gonna die. What y'all gonna eat? What y'all gonna drink? What y'all gonna wear? Y'all just coming together going to the wilderness to worship y'all Lord. Y'all gonna die out there, man. Wait till Yahushua breaks the clouds and he come back and we get beamed up in the chariots. Y'all gonna die out there. But that's not how it's gonna happen. We're not just gonna be you just ride a bicycle and the light comes down on you and you get shined and beamed up. That's not how it's going to happen. I got more understanding about that now. No, it's going to happen the same way that it happened in Egypt, man. We're going to have to come together and go into the wilderness. Then from there, the chariots may come down and beam us up and change us in the twinkling of an eye. But we're going to actually come together and go to the wilderness. Now, you may have guys that didn't make it to the wilderness, that's in various different places, that a chariot may come down and call them up and what happened? Take them up in a whirlwind. You may, or translate them up. You may have that because they didn't make it to the wilderness, to the majority group that's, you got guys, individuals out there that may be saved by an angel. But for the majority, we're going to come together and go into the wilderness. And the Lord has been alluring us, and that voice has already, just like during the time of Egypt, that the Lord's voice was already alluring them and telling them to come out into the wilderness to worship him. But he had to send a man to get that message across. That man, that voice was going through Moses. Let my people go. Right? Now, you ain't going to have to worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink. You got to have faith. And that's what a lot of these guys lack. They lack faith. And this is what the Passover is supposed to remind you of. They lack the faith that if we do something, like they scared. Man, we already tried to have a community in a city, and Esau came and bombed us. Black Wall Street. That's lacking faith. They scared. Well, this is going to happen. Esau's going to do this. This is going to happen. Gotta have faith, just like the children of Israel during the time of Egypt. They had faith, man. They had so much faith that they put action behind it, not just words on YouTube. You see what I'm saying? So I'm realizing that the Bible gives us the tip of the pyramid, but there's a whole lot more outside of it. There's many works that was not recorded of Yahushua that was not recorded in the Bible. Same thing with King David and Moses. There's many stuff about the Lord, our Father, Yahweh, that's not in the Bible that no man would know. There's technology. There's all type of stuff, man. There's mysteries and stuff like that that has not been revealed, right? So there's so much more. The Lord is bigger than this Bible that we got. Way bigger, way more important, and there's so much knowledge and stuff that the Lord has that's not in this Bible. So we can't just take this and say, well, boom, this is it. Because it's not. There's parts of the Bible that are supposed to be in the Bible that they took out that we don't have. There's different manuscripts, like we just got done talking about with Matthews, that we don't even have the actual Hebrew manuscript, and that there's an actual Hebrew manuscript that exists that's different than the Greek. It's like, come on, man. Like, remember what I said earlier? It's the truthful part. Because a guy could laugh like, no, so you going off, you saying go outside the Bible? Well, does the truth matter? Is it true that it's been tampered with, that it's been changed, that it's errors, or that don't matter to you? Or you following a cult? You following a man-made doctrine? That don't matter. Don't say that. What? Don't say the truth? So I had to ask myself, like, would the Lord want me to know the truth? Or would the Lord want me just to follow a camp, follow a cult, follow that doctrine and get in order? Like they say, you out of order. Would the Lord want you to be in order under something? Or would the Lord want you to know and seek the truth? You gotta ask yourself, because if you seek this truth, you're gonna realize, oh, these guys are lying. Oh, this is what this guy said, it's not true. Oh, I see guys that's in camps, they in cults, and they know for a fact that they leader, the head guy, is lying on some things, and he's not being truthful on purpose. That's why I call it lying. Or he made mistakes, and he did not have the truth. He do not have 100% truth. They know that, but they sweep all that stuff under the rug because it's more important to them. The doctrine is more important to them, and being in order is more important to them. Man worshiping, they won't call it that, but it is. It's more important to them than the truth. And we can't get along. We can't be around each other because I'm seeking the truth. I'm going to have questions. And if you off, I'm going to say you off no matter what position you in, because I'm seeking the Lord first. I'm seeking the truth. So I had to ask myself that. Is the truth important? The truth is important, man. The truth is very important. Like even with, like, you got Old Testament only guys. Well, when it says, thus say Yahweh, because that's the whole argument. It doesn't say, thus say the Yahweh, or Yahweh said this. It don't say that in the New Testament. Well, okay. Well, the truth is in the Old Testament, when it says, thus say Yahweh, did Yahweh write that himself? Well, the truth is no. There's still a man, Jeremiah, a man, Isaiah, that's saying he said that. Then they say, well, you don't believe in the Bible? No, I do believe in the Bible. I believe in the Bible for exactly what it is. It's a man saying that the Lord said it. So when we get to that point that is a man saying that he said it, now you're forced to make a choice. Do you believe in Isaiah when he said that the Lord said this, or do you not believe in Isaiah when the Lord said he said this? But my whole thing is, cool, make whatever decision you want to make. What's the difference from the New Testament? And when Matthew's or when John the Revelator says a voice from the heaven, and the only voice that could come from heaven is Yahweh, because that's the only real God. There ain't no other real gods. Like, that's the only real God, right? So and the only one that will have power to send a voice from the heaven. So when that happens, it's like, in John the Revelator say that you have to believe in him still. You still have to believe that he's telling the truth, or you could choose not to. So what's the difference between believing in the authors of the Old Testament and believing in the authors of the New Testament? What's the difference? There's errors in both, but that don't mean that the truth ain't still there. And that's what the Passover means to me, man. It's finding the truth, putting actions behind the words, and those actions are of what we need to do to get freedom, to follow our Lord correctly and be righteous, is found in the Old Testament in the book of Exodus during the time of the Passover. With that, I'm going to say salvation to the elect. Shalom.